Representative Gosar.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Pisarcik, thank you for appearing before the committee today. You know, I carefully reviewed your budget request, and I have to say, this is one of the most ridiculous proposals I've seen so far this year. A doubling of the Office of Surface Mining Reclamation and Enforcement budget? Really? This budget request isn't even worth the paper it's printed on. Do you think we just parachuted in here today? It would have been more realistic if you would have rode here today to this hearing on a unicorn. Your budget request continues your administration's fascination with the war on coal. The Office of Surface Mining FY16 budget request proposes to significantly increase taxes and will harm Americans' energy production. While many don't consider Arizona to be a coal state, Arizona generates 40% of its electricity from coal and produces more than 8,000 tons of coal per year. A new analysis by PJM Interconnection, the country's largest regional grid operator, found that proposals by this administration could trigger the retirement of up to 49 gigawatts of its generating capacity. Here's a quote from that report. Today's electricity policy is a risky nationwide experiment in burning the candle at both ends. Something has to give, the report states. That means reliability problems and blackouts if emerging policy threats go unchecked. Your administration's war on coal must cease, and I would encourage your administration to stop picking winners and losers and to appeal to a radical agenda. It is far past time your agency embrace a true all-the-above energy policy that includes access to wind, solar, hydropower, geothermal, oil, natural gas, and coal. Now, questions. I know you've heard plenty of concerns from stakeholders in Congress from the Office of Surface Mining's rewrite of the stream buffer rule. As you know, information from the Department of Interior was leaked in 2011, which indicated the proposal would kill some 7,000 good-paying mining jobs. As the Office of Surface Mining continues to work on the proposal since then, what have you done to ensure in this rewrite that the proposal does not result in thousands of lost jobs?
That's a very important question, Congressman Gosar. What we have done is we have used the information from the analysis that we hired outside experts to provide to us as to what would be the impacts of potential changes, and we've made revisions to the rulemaking package as we developed it. So as I mentioned earlier, the net impact of the draft where we have right now would probably be a wash. There may be a couple hundred more jobs as a result of the rule, maybe a couple hundred left. It will not be thousands of jobs as was in that document.
So we should trust. So we should trust this administration on the lack of everything that they've gotten wrong in regards to an economy that they can't predict one way or the other, right?
I think you should look at the rulemaking when it comes out as proposed and the cost-benefit analysis and the regulatory impact analysis and make your judgment at that point in time, because I believe
trust is a series of promises kept, and I've not seen one iota where we ought to have any type of trust. So let's go to the new estimates on the potential job losses in the revised stream protection rule. How many do you think will be taken care of in that aspect?
I'm sorry, sir. I
well,
don't
you've changed
it.
It's no longer the stream buffer rule. You've now called it the revised stream protection rule. How many jobs would be lost in that?
There has been no job losses because of the stream protection rule. That
no. How many do you
propose?
You know, in implementation of that aspect, how many jobs do you feel would be lost in that application?
We've just transferred or conveyed that rule to OIRA on that, and when the rule comes out, you'll see the actual numbers. And as I mentioned already a couple of times, I expect that the range would be maybe a couple hundred less to maybe a couple hundred more.
Wow. Now, you know, this issue is very important to my constituents. Can you tell me how many times you personally have met with leaders and families from actual coal mining regions to hear their concerns? Were any public comment hearings actually occurred in coal country? Can you elaborate specifically when those took place?
I've traveled in my job to a number of places. I've met with citizens in West Virginia and in Kentucky, with homeowners, with individuals, with people who live and work in mines, people who live near the mines. I've been in Arizona, met with people on the Hopi reservation at a meeting with citizens there, both who were opposed and who supported coal mining. I've met with officials there. I can't begin to count all the times and the places I've met with them. It has been my practice everywhere I go to offer to meet with the state regulators, with the industry, and with citizens and environmental groups, and I've done that. I've done it in Alabama, I've done it in Kentucky, I've done it in Ohio.
I appreciate that. Now, In looking at the new timeline of the rule, considering that you just sent the rule to OMB, when do you expect the rules to be proposed?
I expect it to be proposed sometime this spring.
Spring goes till June. Should we expect it before May?
Sir, we conveyed it to OIRA yesterday, and that process needs to be allowed to go through that deliberative process. I'm not exactly sure how long that will take. We'll run through that process. Once it completes that process, and then it goes through the part, and it will be published as proposed, and the draft EIS will be made available then as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.